You need to do 3 things in order to properly check somebody. So some might not understand what the term checking means. And it's a bit of slang. Checking means correcting. When you need to correct someone that has typically overstepped some sort of boundary that you personally have. So checking is not running up and fighting somebody. That is not checking. I would never consider getting into a fight with somebody checking them. That is not checking them. People will try to use that as a form of checking, but ultimately that sort of checking is not even as effective as a non-violent checking, and I wouldn't even encourage people to just to get in fights over things that are inconsequential. So if someone oversteps a boundary in your life, you may feel the need to check them at a certain point. And checking is something that no one is above being checked. Not anyone. Not your mother, not my mother. No one is above being checked. I'm not above being checked. Everyone at some point should be checked and will be checked. The thing is, how it is done is what matters. And I'm gonna break down the 3 things that need to be present in order to properly check someone. And when it comes to checking, when it comes to correcting a behavior after someone overstepped their boundaries with you, it's important to know your own role and know your position. So not everyone is suitable to check everyone, meaning that when it comes to you checking someone, sometimes it is not your place to check certain people with certain things. Such as, it is not your place to check a child that's not yours when it comes to certain things. It is not your place to act as the father or the mother of a child that's not yours. When it comes to certain things, you cannot check them in the same way that the biological parents have the right to check their own child. And when it comes to checking of strangers that you're never going to see again, when it comes to people that you're never going to see on a regular basis, I would definitely not recommend you even wasting energy checking strangers, unless it is something that is so egregious and you have to let it be known that that is not something you will ever tolerate. So when it comes to checking, the first thing that needs to be in place in order to properly check somebody is you need to take emotion out of your act. When you do check them, you need to take emotion out of it, meaning that when you communicate what they did wrong, when you correct them with your statements, you cannot be in an emotional state when you do it. And it's important to not be emotional so you can articulate what the actual issue is. You can articulate the issue without seeming unreasonable with what you're stating to them. So it is important to keep that in mind, that the way you do something is just as important as the act itself. So it has to be done properly if you want it to have the actual desired effect. The second thing that needs to be in place, that you need to do when you check someone, is you need to be direct. You need to be direct. You need to be a straight shooter. You need to just tell them exactly what they did. You can't be all this indirect. Well, I was kind of thinking, so do you remember like that one time and then you did that, and what you did, it really bothered me, but I wasn't sure how to express myself then. See, you have to just state what the issue was. What they did that you could not tolerate. That act that violated one of your boundaries. You got to just talk about what happened. You got to shoot straight. And you can't even worry about if they feel intimidated by how direct you are coming at them. Which is why it is also important to not be emotional when you do check them. So you're not being emotional and you're being very direct when you check them. And I've done this many times when it comes to my personal life, when it comes to at previous jobs that I've had where people have overstepped certain boundaries with me. I always remember the first two critical things that I told you guys when it comes to properly checking someone. Remove emotion. Don't be emotional. Be direct. Tell them exactly what happened. And by being direct, that means you can sum up the incident in a few words. Don't put your hands on me. Why? Don't touch me like that. Why did you touch me like that? Direct. So don't be emotional, be direct. And the third thing that needs to be present is you cannot be overly disrespectful if you want your checking to be effective. You cannot do the first two and not encompass the final aspect of it, which is to not be overly disrespectful with how you check someone. Meaning you can't check someone cursing at them and think that they're actually going to absorb what you're telling them, because the overall goal of checking someone is to correct them on a boundary that they overstepped with you. And if you want to correct them, you expect them to maintain that correction. You expect them to, from now on, never violate you in that way that requires you to check them in the first place. You don't want to correct someone in a way that's going to have an unintended blowback on you. You don't want to check someone in a way, and because you were so disrespectful, now it became something else. Now it went from you correcting them to them initiating an attack on you, whether it be verbal or it gets physical, because of the way you check them. And as I've stated, no one is above checking, not even me. So I've been checked myself. I've been checked the right way. And I've been checked the wrong way. No one is above checking. And when people have checked me in ways that were similar to what I've described in my 3 things that need to be present when you properly check someone, don't be emotional, don't be disrespectful, and be direct. When I've been checked in that way, I've accepted that checking, because not every time when someone checks you are they looking to fight you. They're not looking to cause drama. Some people just want their boundaries to be respected, as they should. And you will very likely at some point in your life come across situations where you need to check someone. And in my experiences, whenever I have checked someone, using those three principles of how to properly check someone. Don't be emotional, be direct, don't be disrespectful. I've always gotten the desired outcome. And when you check someone the right way, you won't have to check them again if it's done the right way. And people may have a different interpretation of what direct means. If you are very direct with how you check someone, you go straight to the issue, and you're not insulting, and you're looking them dead in the eye when you do it, most people will accept that checking. Most people will. So keep those three principles in mind, because at some point, someone's probably going to try to check you. And at another point, I'm sure you're going to have to check someone at some point.